Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Alex. I'm a bioinformatician and I work in London. And in this video, I'm going to show you my setup that I've cultivated over many years that I use for coding in R, Python, Nextflow, and Bash. I don't use RStudio, I don't use VS Code. What I do use is something purely terminal based. So let's get into it and let me show you the setup. Hopefully this is useful. All right, so here we are in my project directory in the terminal. The setup starts with tmux, and I'm not going to go into great depth in this video about exactly how to use that. I'm going to show you it in the context of my bioinformatics setup. So let's set up a typical workflow. So what I like to do is I split my tmux up like this, and I have nvim on the left, I have R in the upper right, and I use the bottom right for sort of navigating the system or running any shell commands. So the beauty of this is, let's say I logged out from here I'm just demonstrating this locally, but what I often do is have this set up on the computing cluster at work. And so if I log out from that cluster after SSHing in, then when I come back the next day or whenever it is, if I SSH into the cluster again, all I have to do is press tmux A, which attaches A for attach, and that sort of brings me back into my session. So to get started and just to demonstrate this, let me load up the iris dataset. So I can send code from the left to the R terminal with the spacebar. You can see that there, and I can explore the dataset like so. So I maximize that panel and I scroll up and down to have a look at the data. I can also obviously run the classic head, so we just look at the top of the data set, and I can do any other R type things. So let's make a plot. Let's plot the sepal length against the sepal width. And I'll need to load in ggplots. So let's plot that, and we can see here in this setup, I'm doing this locally, and this plot is appearing through a kind of Xterm feature of Windows Terminal and WSL, etc. So I've got this kind of plotting functionality. If I'm working on the cluster, what I do is I render plots as PNGs or PDFs, and I've got a custom function to make that really easy. And then I mount the file system and I view the plots through the PDF or the PNG. And we don't have any syntax highlighting. That's because NeoVim doesn't know this is an R script. So if we save this, we've got it saved now. We get some nice syntax highlighting, and so we could set up some more variables, and we can see there's kind of autocomplete functionality. So if I start typing, it'll guess what I'm trying to type, and I can go down this list or pick the first one, which it usually is. And what I can also do is send blocks of code to the R session on the right. So if we I don't know, set up a quick for loop, and I'm just making this up right now, but if we wanted to send a block of code, we could easily do that, and we can see that has run. So that's all very useful. What else have we got? So I've got I can navigate the files as well. So I could open up another file. Let's pick one. Here, let's have this one. And that I can open that in a new tab. So I've got that going in a new tab, and then I can go back to my old tab. And here we are in the iris thing again. Another thing is I can have multiple tmux windows. So I could set up another one like before, where I've got nvim on the right and nvim on the left, sorry, and R on the top right. And I can, in this one, we could do the empty cars dataset, for example. And there's that data. So, and we can rename those nicely in the bottom, on the bottom bar. So we've got iris and then our empty cars. Another thing that's cool is that I can find any file quickly. So I press Control P, and this is I think it's called Telescope, this plugin for NeoVim. But essentially you can load any piece of code in your repository or folder with this kind of fuzzy autocomplete feature as well. And you can have custom commands in here. One of them that I have is I have these kind of filter commands set up. So I just press comma FF and it sets up a filter. So let's say I only want sepal length bigger than 1, let's say. And then we can, I need to have my dplyr library in there. So we've got that, we've got a filter, and then I could, we could scroll up here, have a look at the top so we can see the variables. Then we could arrange it. So that's comma AA, I've got that set up as. So that's another little shortcut. We could order the data set by, let's say, negative sepal length. So we'll start at the biggest, and we'll go down to the smallest, and then we can do other sort of cool data manipulation things. So we could group by the species. Again, you can see I've just got a quick shortcut for that, and we can summarize, and let's say we take the mean of the sepal width, call that mean width, send that as a block, and there we go. So and we've got the mean for this particular filtering setup that I've just come up with. So it's a very powerful way of working, particularly because you've got NeoVim, which is all keyboard shortcut based. And so once you commit all of these commands to memory, it is incredibly powerful. So and another thing you can do is go to the definition of any variables in the script. So that if I press GD, that takes me up to the definition. So that's all nice. Let's open up another script. This is a cool function. So if I have a script or a path underneath the cursor, I can open that up in a new tab very, very easily, right? So it's all just a very, very nice way of working. And so we're working here on our iris stuff, and then we go back over to the empty cars, So if you're working on multiple projects, that's really amazing. And I could switch this out for a Python. I've not got Python installed on this system, but I could switch that out for Python and start coding in Python. Or I could, in the top right, I could have, let's say I was on the cluster at work, I could have an interactive node in the top right, and then I'd send code from this NeoVim session over to the interactive node, and you could set up an interactive node with, let's say here I've only got 16 cores, this is my local machine, and I've got 16 gigs of RAM. Well, I could have an interactive node on the cluster up here, and I could give it 100 gigs of RAM and 30 cores, for example, and then I could be running R with that interactive node and just sending code from the left to the right, just as we have been doing. Another great feature is the Git integration. So with my NeoVim, I've got all of my stuff is integrated with the Git repository, so I can stage things. I've just staged that file there. I can commit it, and then I'll enter a new commit message. There we go. And we'll close that, and then it will commit that for us, and then we can push it to any remote repo that we wish to. So there we have it. I hope you have found that useful. It's a quick whistle-stop tour of my setup, and if there's further interest, I can make more videos going into depth. But I do encourage you to check out nvim and tmux. As I say, they're very powerful, very versatile, and they allow you to work in a more sort of efficient and flexible manner, because obviously with your setup being located remotely on the cluster, you can log in from any computer, and you can also utilize the full power of the cluster as well, which is great. So yeah, if you like the video, drop a comment, drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.